Oh my gosh, thank you for being here.
Oh my God, it's a pleasure. And I think I would have made tampo if you didn't invite me.
And I'm so excited that you're the first one, my first guest for my first episode on my first ever TV show.
Whoa!
And
Yes!
we're gonna talk about private conversations.
Yes.
Like no one's listening. Yeah. And for those who are listening to us, right? Like there's no one listening, but there's listening talaga. Dr. Holmes had several shows. First would be No Nonsense with Dr. Holmes, right? And you also you were also with Daisy ng Tahanan. I remember I was young and I would watch that.
Very young, yes.
And what did you do there?
Oh, it was Q&A. Tessie would ask me questions. She was brilliant, by the way. Every Tuesday and Thursday for about 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh. And you also had sex talks with Dr.
in a
Holmes.
streaming platform. And that was fun, in an international streaming platform.
Oh, wow.
I enjoyed that so much.
And aside from TV shows, you also had columns, di ba?
Oh, yes.
In different publications.
Yes.
And of course, your book. Your book, which has been reprinted, 11 times? Oh
in the first year. Ang yabang, charot. In the first year. And
charot, did you just say charot?
And then, I don't know, 2015, they did a 25th anniversary of it. So
I was there.
You were there, you were such a help. It was so wonderful to have you there. And of course, many people were so agog. Wow, Dr. Rica Cruz is here.
No,
of course. Yes,
that it was
true.
About you.
Yeah, but still, it's nice.
25 years of the book, Life, Love,
I'm so happy.
and Lust.
Life, Love, Lust. Yes.
25 years and 30 years as a sex therapist.
Achoo.
So, Mama H, I call her Mama H.
Yes, you do. And I'm so honored and grateful.
Oh, I'm so honored that you let me call you that. I call her Mama H. I want to know, how did you start with this whole sex thing? How did you start? You can answer either having sex or the sex therapy.
Well, in a way, indirectly, having sex. I'll give a very short summary. I fell in love with my philosophy professor when I was second year college at UP. I like to think he fell in love with me too, that it wasn't mere seduction, because when people started to talk, I said, let's end it now, because obviously I knew I could marry him, no? Kasi he was already married. Anyway, he said, no, let's continue. I will quit working in UP and I will teach somewhere else in Trinity. So I thought that meant I wasn't just some, wide-eyed student who fell in love with him. I hope. But at any rate, before I decided, kasi alam mo, married man, they won't be interested in petting lang. At least this is what I thought. Doc Rica, you know.
So ano binigay mo, hindi petting lang?
Ay, kasi alam ko. But so, I thought, who can I go to? Kasi then, we were taught, I don't know kung now pa, alam mo, pag hindi ka na virgin, walang gustong magpakasal sa'yo. So natakot ako. Yeah, then, and maybe now some people still think that. That's why I'm so glad you're here to still educate people on these things, no? These very basic things na kadalasan kawawa naman ang kababaihan. Kasi a lot of the sexist ideas, of course, put down women because they're the less powerful. At least in my humble opinion. Anyway, going back, I said, who can I go to who will tell me the truth? And I'm sure there were open-minded priests, but I didn't know any of them. I thought they would just preach morality at me. I'm sure there were very good psychologists and psychiatrists, but again, I didn't know any of them. And I thought being Freudian was what I knew. They would only insist on going to my childhood to find out why I fell in love with this married man. So I told myself, when I grow up, as though I wasn't grown up pa din, when I grow up, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the sort of psychologist that people can go to and ask straightforward questions, and I will not judge them. I will not try to convince them to do things that they don't want to do. And I will separate research-based evidence-based facts to my opinion.
Oh, wow.
That is what I taught myself.
So that's what pushed you to
Yes.
become the psychologist that you are now.
In a
Yeah.
sense, that's what pushed me.
And also your sexual experience, right?
Well, that one sexual experience, which happily became more. You know what? It's only with you that I would say that. Kasi
Oh my
I know
gosh.
you would take it in the right way. But anyway.
Yeah. So, but this whole sex therapy thing, right? How were you able to put it out there, like publicly?
You know, I think I was writing a column for a parenting magazine once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then an editor from Manila Times asked their editor, pwede ko ba siyang kunin? And they made the column every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think ang lakas ng what they used to call ugong. No, ang lakas ng ugong because it came out every day. And the first column in 1990, December 24, I still remember, was a size C for Christmas.
What does that mean?
Well, because the story was Q&A.
Okay.
The story was this American boyfriend, and the girl wrote, wanted her to get a breast enlargement.
Oh.
So that, and you know what? As I'm sure you know because you're a fabulous writer. Or maybe you
Thank
don't know
you.
because you're a fabulous writer. And in the beginning, it would take me 5 hours to write a column. Kasi hindi ba sa media, you cannot be, you know, super scientific,
Yeah.
based research. So it took me 5 hours. And finally, when I was able to get it down to 1 hour, I said pala, at last I can live again.
Oh my God,
Yes.
Mama, it's 5 hours?
Yeah, well.
Up until now, it would take me 1 month. No, it's so
Bolera.
difficult for me to
That's
write.
why I love her. She always makes me feel
I'm
good.
so serious.
Thank
It's so
you.
difficult for me to write, but that's so cool, you know, that you were able to write it down. And pero how was it then? How was it?
Oh, it was very difficult. I know you are also getting a lot of flack, no?
Oh, yeah.
Lalo na, you're so sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's, ano, you know.
Naku naman
yeah.
siya. Yeah.
Although, I'm hoping in a
It's like,
totally
fight us
different...
now. Fight us now.
So I had the Catholic Women's League against me.
Oh my God.
In fact, there was a woman who wrote, and I made it column in the Manila Times where I was writing daily, where she said, how would you like it if your 8-year-old daughter read your columns?
Perfect.
Yes, and I said, frankly, if my 8-year-old daughter read and especially understood the columns, I would be thrilled. Yes.
Yes.
But Maria Ressa, who was then the editor of my show, No Nonsense, sort of scolded me. And said, because she said, and I think it's right, like the way she did with our former president, she said, you always have to stay above the fray. Don't get down and dirty with them. You always stay above the fray, which I thought was wonderful advice. But unfortunately, I don't think I was able to really do it. Because nga I answered her. But because of what she said, I tried. Even, and I will say this because it might rile you up too, even when Manoling Morato said she's not a real doctor
Oh, wow.
because she's only a PhD. When they don't know, hindi ba? That, you know, we can hopefully make ripples not only in the Philippines but around the world ang yabang. But anyway,
But you know, like a PhD is a doctor, right?
Of
It's a
course,
doctor.
and I hope the doctors won't be angry at me. But because you have to do a dissertation, which means you have to discipline your mind to do independent and original research, that's asking a lot. That's another skill that PhDs have.
So, you brought the topic up. Manoling Morato. I've heard a lot of like things about him and you. But I want to know what happened there.
I will drink. What happened?
Yes, I will drink too.
Well, the one thing I like wasn't about him directly, but because this is a time for LGBT and your show is so good because it's cutting edge,
Thank
you
you.
know, which is great. And frankly,
You started it.
no, but I cannot think of anyone better to do it than you. It's very good. So then, an Australian newspaper talked to me and he was trying to get me to say something bad about Manoling, which I didn't, because, and then he said, why? Is it because you don't want to? Because he was asking, hey, is Manoling Morato gay? And I said, honestly, I don't know. And he said, why? Is it because you don't want to say anything bad about Manoling Morato? And I said, no, it's because I don't want to say anything bad about gay people. And so, but of course, I'm only telling you the good things, not the times when I couldn't answer. Can I tell you another? But I think it's also cute.
Go ahead.
Like you get a lot of brickbats thrown at
Yes.
you. So I gave a talk in some corporation. And are there any questions? And one guy asked, Holmes. That's an American name, isn't it? Ganyan, very Why didn't you marry a Filipino?
Pakialam mo.
Yes, but I said, tama ka. But I am not as brave as you, maybe. Hindi, so sabi ko, because I hadn't met you yet.
That's so much better.
No, but anyway.
That's using your femininity.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
The group laugh, the audience laugh, which I thought, oh, thank God. But only. There were many times hindi ko sila masagot. But anyway.
But that was very nice. I mean, I think that your way of dealing with the flack and dealing with all the controversies, parang they tried.
Oh, yeah.
But they couldn't.
Oh, well, yeah, I hope not. Yes.
Like because you're still here, right?
Like with you, yeah.
And I think that's what's very important, that someone pushed and pushed and pushed for us to be where we are right now. Because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to do this.
I doubt that very much.
My gosh.
But thank you. That's very sweet of you to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
But no, I really mean that. From the bottom of my heart, Mama H. From the bottom of this devil's heart.
I didn't see
with
that
a tail.
That's so cute. Yes.
But yeah, so like those experiences, how is it like with your personal experiences, like with your relationships, going through all these things?
Okay.
How was that for you?
It was okay. This is terrible. It's not a denigration of Filipino men. But, unfortunately, all my four husbands, 3 ex pala, only one current, were...
3 exes, 1 husband.
Yes, we're foreigners. Because then, and I think they have changed now, because like, your husband, your partner is wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Okay? But then, akala ko, and, maybe I was right, maybe I was wrong. Filipino men then, 35 years ago, couldn't accept a woman who would say masturbate or penis
totally.
or Tapos, hindi pa ako maganda by,
Ano ba?
No, by Filipino standards. Naku, nagulat ako when my foreign husbands parang made me think I was a hothouse flower, but Filipinos really don't find me attractive, and that's okay. Filipino men, I forgive you, because now, ang babait ninyo, because before also, ang mga lalaki noon, in the past, many of them were unfaithful. Many of them were unfaithful when they were married na. But now I see so many Filipino men who are trying to be faithful to their wives.
That's the operational word.
Well, you're right. But, a lot. And,
yes.
I think that's wonderful. So men have changed. But at any rate, my 4 husbands are foreign. And anyway, so because masyadong makitid ang isip ko, or I didn't want to have to convince the men and their families that I was actually okay. I think that helped, knock on wood, in the sense of complete acceptance from the start. For example, not being a virgin anymore, because for sure I was sullied by my professor. It was not a big deal for them at all.
For them. But
maybe for a Filipino, it would be a big deal. Maybe. Hindi ko alam. You should ask a survey, because I'm sure your TV show is gonna be a show that there will be a big buzz about, and maybe you can ask them
thank you.
in the right.
But yeah, I mean, what you're saying is that there are a lot of Filipino men, because of the culture, who weren't able to handle that you were so outspoken about sex, diba? And you've already had your first sexual encounter even before
marriage.
you got married. And of
Yes.
course, during that time, they would, well, ngayon, meron pa ang ganun eh. They would look down on women who talk
Yes.
about sex.
Yes.
Or even to say masturbation
Yes.
during that time, or penis during that time, is so
Yes.
out of this world.
Yes.
So I think it's not just, I really don't think that they're looking down on you. I think they were intimidated by you. No,
Maybe.
because they
thank
cannot,
you.
diba?
Yeah.
They're emasculated. I've been through that. So going back to your 4 husbands, parang 4 marriages, hindi ka ba napagod? To love again, to
Okay.
talk to these people again?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, I'm bipolar, no? I'm bipolar too. I hope people who look up to me will still look up to me despite
course.
that. But I'm
Doesn't
bipolar
change
too.
anything.
Thank
They're still you.
Thank you. So, usually, hindi ba pag hypomanic ka, mayabang ka eh. Because you think you can get over anything. And even if you get depressed, part of you knows, I'm gonna get out of this. Kasi that's what bipolar is, di ba? So, I think, when I got married, I was hypomanic. And I thought, whatever happens to me, kaya ko eh. But you're right, it was nakakapagod. And I noticed, with each marriage, except for the last one, to the guy I'm still married to,
Papa
whom
J,
you call Papa J, I always got depressed immediately after. So, clinical, talagang a deep clinical depression. Because maybe, just maybe, I knew that this wasn't the right thing to do. You know? So, let me ask you a question.
Okay, bakit?
Admittedly, I had 4 husbands and you are so much brighter and did not do that and so much more calm. But you had boyfriends.
Yeah.
You know? So, was that difficult also for you? I mean, the boyfriends?
So
or?
you had 4 husbands, I now have 2. Half lang. I learned from you.
Thank you. That's a compliment.
Right? I learned from you. Because I remember when you met my first husband.
Oh.
Well, let's not talk about that.
Talk about it because I look so bright. There. No, I'm teasing you.
No, because like what you
Yes.
said, diba? Parang
Yeah.
kanina sabi mo, there are men who won't be able to handle what we do as,
Yes.
of course, women, they see us as strong women, quote unquote, or women who talk about sex publicly. Kasi you're either like shamed for like, are you being a slut? What are you
Yes,
doing?
absolutely.
Parang, ano yun? Kahihiyan ka. Kahihiyan
yeah.
ka sa pamilya, especially if the family is,
Yes,
diba?
conservative. Yes,
Conservative, or they're very, very, they're very, very focused on their image.
Yes,
right?
yes,
There.
absolutely.
So, I think that's what happened with the first one. I think it was also part of what I do that the marriage wasn't able to handle.
Yes.
And that's why we separated. But this second one, oh my gosh.
He's
Oh my gosh.
lovely.
I really never thought that it can exist. I mean,
Really?
something
Yeah, the kind
like
of
that.
love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the kind of love, the kind of support, also the kind of open mind.
Yes.
To even say that, hey, it's okay, you talk to, because before I would go out on radio with 3 boys. You were there too.
Yes,
right?
I guessed that because of you
Hey,
again.
thank you. So, for someone who can say that, hey, it's okay, can talk to
Yes.
men publicly about
Yes.
sex. It's fine, you can talk about our sexual experiences. It's fine.
Yes.
It won't matter. What matters is you're okay.
Yes.
You're doing what you want to do, and it's helping you. It's helping a lot of people. Is that
Yes.
how you feel with Papa J?
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
how is he
Absolutely.
different?
He's very conservative, you know that. Except he has this streak in him that he always likes to tell people right away that I've been married 4 times. I think he likes to see them uncomfortable. I mean,
Or maybe
because
he just
he's a
likes to
little-
see like, hey, she got married 3 times and she found me.
and stayed with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
yes.
like stroking
and was
his ego.
faithful to me.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't necessarily with the others.
Oh.
No, but that was a sign maybe
So that
that
was
the
a pattern
relationship.
for you.
Yeah, but my excuse is that it was because of my bipolar disorder, which of course I still have, but I'm medicated now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And you helped me. I'm sure you know many people who have mental disorders.
Yes.
Maybe you can let the world know because you are a psychologist who's an expert not just on sexuality but on many other things.
But that's you.
Achuchu.
Right?
No,
Because
that's us.
From
That's
sex
us.
therapy, you also like evolved, not necessarily evolved, but you also talked about mental health.
Yes.
And how it's really important, not just for the self, but also for the relationships. And right
Yes.
now, you're teaching.
I'm
you're still
hoping.
teaching.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Oh my
yes. Yeah. And you know, with that, I wrote a book on clinical depression. What I insisted on is that people would identify themselves as having clinical depression because ayoko nang itago natin ito. So if I had 10 people who were willing to come out and say, you know, yes, they've been depressed, and you know, Patis Tesoro, Peque Galiaga, Lori Reyes, etc., etc., I thought that would be good for people to know. Ay, you can have pala a mental disorder and still be okay, still function, still do well. Anyway, that's why I went into it.
Grabe, no? I don't know how you do it.
Achoo!
Because it's like one taboo after the other. You just really like that, na?
Yes, yes, yes.
You like the challenge.
I like the challenge.
But so, sige, let's talk about your challenge. What's the biggest challenge that you've had to face in the past 30 years of being the Dr. Margarita Holmes?
No. I will tell you, being in all candor, being the first one and being recognized, kunwari, as the first one, I think it was difficult for me to accept that, you know, I'm getting older and there will be not only new psychologists who will come in, but brighter, more sexy, and more open-minded than me. I think it took a while, like, you know, you for one, and there were others. But, with you, it was so easy. I still remember it because you wrote to me and you told me if I can help you. And what we always do, because I have so many students who tell me this, for your dissertation, I always write and say, I will be willing to help you if you show me your review of literature and your chapter 1, which will show why you wanted to do the research. And you were the only one that did it.
Oh, yeah?
Not only that, it was excellent.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's why I told Jeremy, hey, let's do it with Rica, because I always ask him, and he said yes. And then we met you. We were completely enchanted by you.
Oh, no.
You know?
Oh, no.
But I wanted to ask you, what also made you get into the field, and what are your challenges? Because I'm sure you have many.
Oh, you know this story. You know, the trigger for me was because my first husband wasn't having sex with me.
I didn't know
It
that.
was during that.
Oh.
It was during my MA, my thesis. That's why my thesis was that. Because my first question was, how many times should you have sex to have a happy marriage? Because
Yeah.
he wasn't having sex with me, and I'm like,
Oh, you're so sexy and cute.
I cannot.
What an idiot.
So I feel like,
Yeah. Yes.
So for me, I
Okay.
was like, I can't find the answer. I'll figure the answer out. And then when I started, like, when I put out the topic, and then they said, oh, you need to talk to Dr. Margarita Holmes. And I was like, where can I find her?
Oh, sweet.
And
Yeah.
I had to look for it, and it was such a daunting
Oh,
experience
really?
for me.
Oh.
Because then when my mom died, and my mom used to be a dean in UP, and I was thinking, oh my God, if you were just alive, you could be
You could be the go-between.
Yeah, you could be the tulay to Dr. Holmes. But I had to cold email you.
Oh.
I had to cold email you. And oh my gosh, I remember that day. But yeah, so it was that. It was really because my ex-husband wasn't having sex with me, so I had to ask myself. And then I had to study it because there's no literature, there's no data. I had to get my own data.
I think that's fabulous.
And that's when it started. And then when you said you will help me, you invited me to your home.
Yes.
Yeah,
I wanted to see you.
If I were real.
Yes, and you were as good as your survey of literature and your chapter 1
It's
showed.
my paper. That was, I believe, if not 2011, 2013, 2014, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So there, and then when you invited me to your house, I was like, oh my gosh. I was number 1 starstruck. And yeah, because no one can help me. And
Rica,
I've heard so much about you. And I remember I was a kid. I was watching Taisi ng Tahanan.
Okay,
there's no censorship at our house. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And then second, you were willing to help me.
Oh.
Right? And that was was such a big thing for me because there's no one else who could help me. No one else who could help me.
Thank you, Rica.
And third is that not just helping me academically or clinically, you also became a mother to me.
But can I just share something? I know you will be so different. Because when I also started trying to be into sex therapy or even just getting my PhD, nobody helped me.
No one
did. And the older faculty might be angry at me, but it was so true. Yes, it was so true. You're giving me courage. Parang nobody was willing to help me. And therefore, I thought, and some people thought, baka they're looking at you as competition. So I told myself, I tried to tell, I will never be that sort of person. So when you came so bright and so beautiful, for a while, syempre na oh my God, my throne, if it's a throne.
No, you have your throne.
No. But I thought, you have to live up to it. And anyway, no one deserves it more than you. No, but honestly, I'm sorry, hindi ito bola. It's really true. And so, and if I could say something else. If I could say something else, I'm so glad because hindi ba, always, the daughter should be better than the mother. Should be brighter, should be able to go out into the world. Because hopefully, the mother, was supportive of her. The daughter had a secure attachment with her. So I really believe that the daughter, so that's the way I looked at it. The daughter should be better than the mother. So I'm happy. And you're doing so many things I could never do. You're an entrepreneur with Unprude. Have you told them about Unprude? And you're thinking of having this app, which I'm sure you will do. All these things are fabulous things. And social media, you're terrific.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. So I think it's fabulous. These are things I could never do 30 years before. So I'm glad that not only you're continuing with the legacy, but you have taken it farther. Not just farther this way, not just quantitatively, but qualitatively. In so many different ways.
I don't know what to say.
Thank you.
I don't know what to say.
Pero totoo yan, ha?
Oh my gosh, I'm so...
Pareho tayong iiyak.
No, that means so much. That means so much for me because whenever people say that, so you're like the next Margarita Holmes, I say, no, I'm not, because she's a category of her own. No one can replace her. I'm not going to do that because you are Margarita Holmes.
Like you will be. Nakakahiya because if parang I'm agreeing that I'm a category of my
you
own.
Are.
Like you will be, Rica. Or are not already. Like you are.
Every time I see you, I feel like, oh my gosh, how does she do what she does? Because even your energy, it just fills the room up, and I'm like, Paano yun? And when I do my shows, I'm like, oh, pagod na ako. But with you, it's like everywhere you go, even at your house, you're just you're just there.
It's because of you. I mean, my energy plays off who I'm with. So you're there, so of course I'm happy.
Even before we met, you're just this big ball of energy who have gone through so much, but still, parang, I don't care. I want to do whatever I want to do. But you've always been like that, eh?
Yeah, well.
And that courage, that strength, it says a lot.
Well, I have a question for you, but I will just say that, because my parents were so conservative. You know, if your parents are conservative and there's no way you can please them, you might as well do what you want.
That's true.
Parents, remember that.
That's what I did too.
Yeah, you might as well. Question.
And
parang we're like tigers. Yes. What do you think are the issues of Filipinos now? Because I really don't know it. And you know more about that. So,
thank you for taking the conversation out of that very heavy. But yes, issues of Filipinos now.
Yeah.
You said kanina, Filipinos are trying to be faithful. I said operational word, trying. Because it's still a big thing for us.
Yeah.
But I think what's going on now is that mas nare-recognize na rin that women.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Good.
Well, good. And I didn't think of that. You see?
Yeah.
You see?
Women are also, can also have the capacity to have affairs.
Yes.
Or to commit infidelity.
Yes.
So that's a big thing. And I think that also opens up the minds of men.
Yes.
Kasi parang, okay, it equals, it evens the playing field.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Another issue aside from infidelity, which is super laking issue when it comes to sex, is that people don't have sex. But they don't have sex, but they start hating each other because they're not having sex.
They start hating each other.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me more?
Yeah.
This is really interesting.
Well, how was it for you then? Ano ba yung mga issues noon?
I mean, for my time, it's just so sad. Virginity was such a big issue. In fact, when I was teaching in the States and they asked me, well, what's the difference? And I said virginity, infidelity, and women who would say, he's been unfaithful once, twice, third time. In fact, minsan may anak sa labas. But I love him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you get that too. That was such a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, but he loves me. And you want to say, of course he loves you. He can get away with anything. But then you just say, Jeremy can say that because he's more mataray. But you say, yes, but is that the kind of love you want?
Yeah.
A guy who will have a baby with someone else and then come back and just apologize and expect you to look after the baby? Because that happened a few times. We got a few letters like that.
Yeah.
So,
and I also heard a lot of people my age or even older than I am, that they didn't know that they were like second families, third families.
Oh, right.
Parang uso yun nun, di ba?
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. Tapos dun lang sa libing during the wake. Oh, that's awful. I mean, that's really sad. I mean, that's like a major betrayal. Hindi ba? How? Yeah.
Okay. But you were talking
Really
about
bad.
virginity as a big issue before, and even now, let's talk about women. How were women treated before?
Yeah, na kung if you're no longer a virgin, ano ba yung saying na may malat ka na?
Malat?
Like a mark, like a crystal, gaya ng...
Lamat!
Oh, yung lamat ba yun?
yeah.
Okay, may lamat ka na. So, who will want to marry you? And, ganon, no? And I always say, virginity is the biggest gift you can give your husband.
What?
Eh, diba? So, I always used to say, but what about your sense of humor? What about your intelligence? What about your capacity to laugh and to make the partner laugh? Naku, if virginity is the biggest gift, that's a one-shot deal.
I know, and then wala ka ng gift.
Yes,
You're
exactly.
done forever.
Yes, exactly. So, ganon. I want to make a joke.
What's your joke?
Yeah, because of what you said earlier, because I think it fits in with the frequency of sex, you know, because I think it's important. And this is only for your show.
Okay.
Because I don't like to share jokes because sometimes I like to use them for my lectures. Okay, so there was this, they asked, Dr. Cruz,
Yes.
Dr. Rica Cruz, how many times it's normal for a married couple to make love? And you being the excellent researcher says, well, I don't want to give my opinion. Let's ask the crowd, no? So how many of you sleep, have sex once a night or every night? So some raised their hands, they were newly married. Kasi usually it diminishes after that. How many of you have sex once a week, one night a week? So how many of you have sex one night a month? So and then he thought, nobody raised their hand for 1 month, for one night every 6 months. So just to be sure, syempre, you ask, well, is there anyone here that makes love one night a year? And there was someone at the back. So you said, sir, I don't understand. Do you make love only one night a year? If that's the case, why do you look so happy, sir? And you can guess, no?
What?
And he said, because tonight's the night. Anyway, but I think it's something you can use or have used already. That the number per se doesn't matter.
Yes.
Hindi ba?
Yes.
Oh, take it away.
It's the
what
quality.
matters. Yes.
It's the quality
Hindi
of
ba?
sex that you have. Kasi you can have like sex every night, and then if it's not enjoyable sex, or it's just one person who's enjoying,
yes,
diba?
Yes, and he's usually a premature ejaculator. Because if he's the only one enjoying, Rica, come on. If
That's
he's the
true.
And kasi matanda na ako, losyang na ako.
Hindi ka
Masasabi ko
losyang,
ito.
oh my gosh.
Hindi. So you have to, I mean, that's why I can say that siguro. But it's true. Hindi ba? It's true
Yes,
usually.
it's true. And that's unfair. That's unfair.
Oh, very
Especially
unfair.
for women kasi ang nangyayari, and I've heard a lot of stories like this, ang nangyayari is that they just have penetrative sex
And then
he comes
and
then wala na. Wala man lang foreplay. Wala man lang gagawin after.
Yes.
Not even with the fingers
Yes.
or the mouth. Nothing.
Yes. Tama.
Right?
Yeah.
Kawawa naman tayo mga babae.
Kawawa talaga.
Tapos
Kawawa
tatawagin nila
talaga.
tayong disgrasyada.
Yes, or
That's like,
frigid.
Yeah.
Yung pala kaya frigid kasi hindi marunong magromansa.
Oo.
Yeah.
And it's unfair, right?
It is unfair.
Ano ba yung mga tawag nila pa sa mga babae during your time?
Desgraciada, like you separada, as though that were the worst thing in the world. Although sometimes being separada, separating from your partner, can be one of the best things you can do.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can attest to that.
Yeah, yes, and that's good. And it's good, I think, that women, that people can see that you can be a brilliant researcher, you can have a fabulous TV show, but you're separated or you were separated. So what? Big deal. Because I think this is a message, a subliminal message you give to other women. So wag po kayong matakot. Kasi merong mga tao, merong mga lalaking, in case you're heterosexual and that, na malawak ang isip.
Yes.
And they will love you and care for you. And to hell with the past. Because what matters is now.
So how are you now?
Now.
We're talking about the now.
Okay.
How is the Dr. Margarita Holmes now?
Okay, first the bad news.
Okay, bad news.
I had cancer. I had a hip replacement that got infected. But thank God, it's all better. And I hope doesn't come back. And because of that, I have become spiritual. I've sort of recognized, I thought it was a miracle that I got over my, that I didn't have to have a third operation for my hip replacement. I really thought it was a miracle because all the doctors said I had to have it. So, but it's funny because when you talk about sex, I told my husband this, I'm becoming more spiritual. So I think it's gonna affect different aspects of my life. And he came and he was very angry and he said, look, if our column, and we write a column in Rappler now, right? If our column is going to have a constant spiritual refrain, I'm not gonna write it with you. It will just be your column. Although, in a way, I'm happy naman that he was, because he's an atheist, But I'm happy naman that, he was committed to the kind of column he wanted to write, which was scientifically based. But
yeah. But wait, you had cancer.
Yes.
What happened?
You visited me and I was so happy. Yes.
I know.
You visited
that's
me.
Why I don't
That
know
meant
where
a
you
lot.
get your fighting spirit.
Actually, well then, I had a lot of dips. Because di ba cancer, you never know if you're gonna live or die. But, yes, please. But afterwards, you get over it. I mean, as I'm sure you would.
So now you're okay?
Now I'm okay.
And then
Hopefully-
your hip?
Hip is okay, although they thought, because they said there's still bacteria there, you have to take it out. But the last test was okay. And I don't know, I had so many people praying for me. And I hope
praying for you.
and you prayed for me.
Yes.
And I hope that doesn't make me sound less of a psychologist or
Why?
less of a... Well, because, I'm talking about miracles, which I believe in. But it's not evidence-based, people would say.
But it's your evidence.
Well,
your
it's my-
meaning.
Thank you. Yes,
So
yes.
it's a miracle for you. It is a miracle.
Yes, it is. And thank you. Thank you.
And that's what's helping you now, your spirituality.
Yes, it's helping me now. And I just thought, you see, that's why you're such a good therapist, a good psychologist. Because even now, in such a short while, I didn't feel so good about myself being spiritual. But not didn't feel good, but parang I was taking another path if people only thought of me as being a psychologist. But you, in such a short while, you paraphrased it. Without being pedantic, without being moralistic and eklat, you paraphrased it and said, no, it may not be evidence-based in terms of research, but for you, it's evidence-based. How
It
wonderful.
is.
Yeah, but how wonderful of you to tell me right here and right now.
Oh.
Hindi ba totoo yun it's true. I'm not
talking to
making
you.
bola.
I was just talking to you.
That's true. Or maybe I'm making bola so she'll invite me again.
Oh,
Joke!
sure, definitely.
No, joke.
We can talk about a lot
No.
of things. We can talk
No.
about different issues
No.
like the RH bill. What's the RH bill now? Were you ever consulted for that?
Yeah, I was consulted for it and I fought for it a lot. In fact, that was the first time I wrote columns that were more political kuno. I'm sorry, this one column which I thought was wonderful, it was called Senator Soto's Senatorial Semen. And what it was is because Senator Soto, was against the RH bill and he's been married to his wife for like 25 years and he only has like 4 children. But the research shows that if you don't take birth control, which he was very much against, the research shows that usually you get pregnant so many more times. You don't just get pregnant 4 times.
Yes.
So I just said, well, maybe you can teach men for their semen to behave like your semen. So that when the woman... Anyway, I was very happy with that. Kaya lang napagod ako with political columns. I wrote a few because it took me so long to do research. Anyway, so
Meron ka ba mga
RH bill.
nakaaway because of like those
I
things?
think so. But yung nakaaway ko is more with the sex. Because with the sex, apparently, because a very good friend of mine was with the cabinet a few times, she said that they talked about it in the cabinet meeting, wondering if they should, shut me
Censor.
up or censor me. I mean, even there, and of course, the Catholic Women's League and all that.
Up until
so
now?
this was more a concerted effort. Yeah. Now, not so much anymore. I'm not sure. I think writing for Rappler helped a lot.
Oh.
I think.
How did it help?
Because, I think most people admire Rappler. I'm not sure, no, except, maybe the lackeys of the government. And that helped. And I knew they had my back. If anything happened, they would be there. Because they're that sort of people. People in Rappler are there. I mean, I think you don't have to worry.
So you have your support group.
Yes.
You have your support
An aside, not like when I was in Ateneo.
Oh.
But anyway, in UP pa. So,
That's
yeah.
on national TV. No.
Yes. So, it Rappler, I mean, in that sense,
Yes.
you know.
So,
So,
parang those things, like you have your support group, you were able to fight. How does it translate to you, like giving advice to people now?
okay. First of all, I'm very happy that there are people like you who are also doing therapy, and I have announced, I have referred people to you and all that.
Thank you.
And secondly, that I'll tell you one issue that has affected me. Well, maybe since I got cancer and the other things. Now, if I ever write another book, and I'm thinking of, I want it to be on getting older. You know, because I am so comfortable that there are many people now, and you especially, who can write on sex, no? I'm very comfortable about that. But I thought getting older, sometimes people are even embarrassed
That's
to talk
another
about it.
taboo topic.
Is it? Oh, okay.
It's your life. You're going one taboo after the other.
And that's what I want to write about, getting older. So anyway, so if you ask, where am I now? Because, you know, you can get awfully depressed as you get older. I was writing something, and one of the things I thought is, well, what are one of the things you hate about getting older? I said, number one, I can't pull men anymore.
What does that mean? Wait.
I'm 73. Nobody wants to buy me a drink to try and take me to bed. I want to say, "Oy, I have a body of a 69-year-old. Will you take me to bed now?" I'm teasing.
Maybe not here. Maybe we can go to Europe. And then,
73 is
Yeah.
pushing it. I mean, siguro si Tina Turner or something. But anyway, that was something I think I had to deal with because, you know, that, you know, and then there are other things, health, of course, and there are other things. So I hope, anyway, later,
to
write the book, and hopefully that people will not be so sad after they read the book because they know that there are things in it that they can pick up.
Yes, and I think that's what you've been doing, like what I said, right? You take something that people are so scared to talk about, but it really happens, right? It really happens. So for example, sex, you started that. Mental health, you started that. And now, you want to talk about and write about getting older, which is also a huge thing because, like what you said, people are scared of getting older. People are embarrassed of talking about getting older. Even like what you said, na you can't pull men now.
No.
That's sexuality. That's like your femininity when you get older. How does that affect you?
Yeah.
And I think,
She's biased, but I'm so glad. Eh, syempre, she's my daughter. Eh. Syempre,
thank you. But
Thank
yeah,
you,
it's
Rica.
something I think that a lot of people should learn from and should know.
I'm hoping.
Especially nga, yun nga, when you get older, kasi yun lang alam ko, sex eh. A lot of people ask me, yun nga, how do you manage sex when you get older? That's one thing.
Yes.
And for example,
Yes.
how do you deal with relationships with your daughter, your children?
Oh, yes.
When you get older, when you're now both adults, right?
Yes.
So how do you do that and how do you navigate that?
That's a little difficult. But I just want to say something with getting older. You know, if you get older, it's such a gift. And one of the gifts is because of the different relationship you can have with your children. Especially, you know, as a psychologist, that usually mother and daughter relationships, they're difficult. And research has shown that the closer you are to your daughter, usually when she becomes a teenager, mas mahirap because they need to individuate from you. And if they're so close to you, how do they individuate? Except by,
cutting ties.
Yes, and being mean and hurting you. Yes. So, but if you're older, then I think the daughter understands, this is why my mom did this. This is what my mom did this. And if you're both particularly blessed, maybe she can apologize to you. And you can apologize to her because as you get older, it gives you a broader perspective. Anyway.
Wow, that's
all.
Wait. I actually want to wrap things up around that, when That's so nice when you said that when you're getting older as a parent, it's something to dream of. For a parent to apologize to your daughter and your daughter to apologize to your mother and your parent, and to have that kind of relationship.
Yes.
Because all the while, diba, there are things that you're not aware of na nagagawa niyo na sa isa't isa.
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh, now I can't wait to read that book. Where's the book? Where's the book?
You will get, what's this? Of course, a copy. You will be the first one I will give the book to. And I'm not bolera, ha? I'm like you.
I'm not bolera.
You're not bolera.
Oh my gosh, Mama H. This conversation is so. My heart is full. That's all I can say. I can't even think of words to say anymore. But I need to do this. I need to ask you, like, what do you want to impart?
To impart?
To impart.
Okay.
Everyone.
Okay. First of all, I guess, God, I cannot think of anything. Oh, I guess, well, it helps to be open to a lot of experiences, even if you're afraid you might get hurt. But what really, really helps is if you have people that you can be open to, whom you have a feeling even from the start, are willing to take you for who you are and have a big enough heart and a wide enough perspective to do that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is Dr. Margarita Holmes, the giant that we're all standing on. If it weren't for her, whatever it is that we're doing right now will not exist. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mama H. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again and have dinner outside.
About.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure.
Okay, so that was such an amazing conversation and such an amazing first episode. Catch us again next Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. on One News if you want to listen in to Private Conversations with Doc Rica. That was private, you know. You can also check out the long conversation on Spotify, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. I am Doc Rica Cruz, and this is Private Conversations.